Imagine it's Christmas Eve. Snow is falling outside. The house smells like warm spices and buttery pastry. And somewhere in the kitchen, your grandmother's doing something she's done every single year of her life. And her mother did before her. And her mother before that. This isn't just dinner. This is a ritual. This is tourtière. But here's what I want to ask you before we go any further. Have you ever eaten something that felt like it carried the weight of an entire culture inside it? A dish so tied to a people, a place, and a moment in time that eating it feels almost like reading history? Because that's exactly what we're talking about today. And by the end of this video, you're going to see a simple meat pie in a way you never have before. Let's go back, way back, to 17th century Quebec, when French settlers arrived in the New World and brought with them not just their language and their faith, but their food. They knew how to make pies. They've been making them for centuries in France. Savory, hearty, wrapped in pastry that could survive a long winter and feed a family that worked from dawn to dark. But the New World wasn't France. The ingredients were different. The winters were harsher. And so these settlers did what resilient people always do. They adapted. The name itself is a clue buried in history. Tourtière comes from the word tourut, which referred both to a small bird called the passenger pigeon, once abundant across North America and commonly used in early pies, and to the deep earthen dish the pie was baked in. The passenger pigeon is extinct now, hunted out of existence by the 19th century, but the dish it inspired? Still very much alive. Still being made in the same spirit of using what you have, honoring where you come from, and feeding the people you love. Through the 18th century and into the 19th, as Quebecois communities grew and deepened their roots in the land, tourtière became something more than just food. It became the centerpiece of Réveillon, the great Christmas Eve feast held after midnight mass. Families would return from the cold church, stomachs growling, hearts full, and the table would be waiting. And at the heart of that table was always the pie, gold-encrusted, fragrant with clove and cinnamon and allspice, made with hands that had made it 100 times before. Now here's where it gets interesting, and this is a question worth sitting with. What makes a recipe truly traditional when every family makes it differently? Because if you ask 10 Quebecois grandmothers for their tourtière recipe, you'll get 10 completely different answers, and every single one of them will tell you theirs is the correct one. In most parts of Quebec, tourtière means finely ground pork, deeply seasoned with warm spices. Onion, clove, cinnamon, allspice, black pepper, pre-cooked into a filling that smells like the holidays themselves, then sealed inside a double crust of buttery, flaky pastry, and baked until it's a deep, burnished gold. Simple, precise, perfected over generations. But travel north to the Saguenay, Lac-Saint-Jean region, and you'll encounter something entirely different, and honestly, something almost overwhelming in the best possible way. The Tourtière du Lac-Saint-Jean is not a pie in the usual sense. It's an event. We're talking about a deep, heavy dish layered with cubed meats, often a combination of pork, beef, veal, and game, mixed with potatoes and bathed in rich broth, then sealed under a thick pastry lid and slow baked for hours. It's dense, deeply savory, the kind of dish that warms you from the inside out on a -30 January night. It's less a pie and more of a monument. And neither version is wrong. Both are tourtière. Both are Quebec. That's the beauty of a dish built not from a single cookbook, but from thousands of kitchens, thousands of winters, thousands of families who each put their own mark on something shared. So how is it actually made? Let's talk about the process, because this is one of those recipes where the how matters as much as the what. The filling is almost always cooked first. Ground pork or a mix of meats goes into the pan with onions, garlic, and those signature warming spices. As it cooks, the kitchen starts to smell like the holidays, like something is about to happen. The meat is seasoned carefully, sometimes with a touch of nutmeg, sometimes with sage, depending on whose kitchen you're in. Breadcrumbs or mashed potato are often added to help bind the filling and give it that perfect, cohesive texture that holds its shape when you cut into it. Then comes the pastry, buttery, tender, made with patience. The filling goes in cold or warm. Cooks disagree on this too. And then the top crust goes on, crimp at the edges with care or flair or both, brushed with egg wash, and slid into the oven. About an hour later, give or take, something extraordinary comes out. It's served hot, sometimes at room temperature. And here's a detail that surprises a lot of people outside Quebec. It's almost always served alongside ketchup, or chutney, or pickled beets. The tangy contrast against the rich, spiced meat is not an afterthought. It's the point. It cuts through the richness, brightens every bite, and makes a heavy dish feel balanced. And here's the practical magic of Tourtiere that sealed its place in the tradition of Réveillon. It can be made ahead. You can bake it the day before, refrigerate it, and reheat it when the family comes in from the cold. In the chaos of a large holiday feast, that reliability is everything. The pie is always ready. The pie is always there. Which brings us to the real question underneath all of this. Why does food like this matter? Why do people drive hours to their grandmother's house for a specific pie? Or spend an entire December afternoon learning a recipe they've watched someone else make since childhood? Because food is memory. Food is identity. Tourtiere doesn't just taste like pork and spices and buttery pastry. It tastes like Christmas Eve and snow on the window, and a table crowded with people you love, and the feeling that some things don't have to change, that some things are worth preserving exactly as they are. In Quebec, Tourtiere shows up at cultural festivals, in restaurant menus that celebrate Quebecois gastronomy, in conversations about what it means to be from this particular place in the world. It's been written about by food historians, photographed by food journalists, debated by food lovers, and yet its real home is still the kitchen, still the family table, still Christmas Eve. It represents something genuinely rare in modern food culture, a dish that hasn't been smoothed out by trends or optimization or the pressure to be new. It's still essentially what it was 300 years ago, still spiced the same way, still wrapped in pastry, still pulled out of the oven at the exact right moment to feed the people who matter most. So the next time you're looking for something to cook that connects you to something bigger than a single meal, try Tourtiere. Find a recipe. Better yet, find a person who makes it and ask them to teach you. Watch how they season by feel, crimp by instinct, and know it's done not by a timer, but by smell. That's not a recipe. That's a living tradition. And it's been waiting 300 years for you to try it.